Buddy, well, I'm going to try this for the third time. Um, I've been getting hit with a bunch of stuff lately, and with all the things that are going on, this so-called martial law that we're not supposed to be under, that now we're officially under it, and um, the thing with Nibiru, and there's just been all kinds of things that have been coming at me for the last couple of days. Some of the information is pretty credible, and I thought I should get this out to you. Because Trump pulled the ultimate boner today. He signed into law um, that Defense Act, that where he can, Defense Preparedness Act, I believe it is. I'm going to put it up here in a minute on this, but now is not a time to be a sheep. Now is not a time to not know who you are. And I'm calling the name of this video, I Do Not Consent, because therein lies all of our power. See, this is basic contract law. And contracts require a meeting of the minds. They require an offer, an acceptance, and just compensation. So basically, it's what they would call quid pro quo, something for something. And they've hijacked our judicial system. They did it 2 years after the Constitution was written. It was written in 1787, and the Judiciary Act of 1789 had already had the courts perverted, and then I'm not sure if it's 1803 or 1806, Marbury versus Madison, the Supreme Court said that it's not the Constitution that's the law of the land, it's their interpretation of the Constitution that's the law of the land. So right from the start, this is a 200-year-old conspiracy that's been going on, and they've been trying to steal this country. Well, they've done it. It's been one. It's a hit. It's over with. They've got it. And I don't see the internet lasting much longer. I don't see life ever going back to how it was before. I hope I'm wrong. I hope I'm wrong, but the truth of the matter is, this is the time of judgment. And we've got to come out of the beast system. The key to that is, don't give consent. I do not consent. That period. I am a man. I'm not a corporate fiction. I'm not one of their debt slaves. I am a man. And that is what's important. They're probably going to be sending us some type of a check or some type of a compensation because, hey, nobody's going to be working and you're going to be sitting in your house, but that's okay because Daddy Trump wants to give you some money so you can make it through this. Well, guess what? That's the offer. And if you cash that check, that's the consent. Then guess what? It doesn't matter when they bring that vaccine around. You can't say no. That's part of your contract. You've contracted into being one of their slaves. So this is it. You've got to know who you are, and you've got to act accordingly. I know who I am. Yahuwah Elohim is my mighty one, my God, if you will. I don't like using that word. But not everybody that sees this is going to understand that Lord and God do not apply to the Most High. That there's a lot of people that'll see this that have come to know Him through His Son Jesus. Well, I'm past that, as there's a lot of people that are now. I come to know Him through Jesus, but now I know that Jesus is really Yeshua HaMashiach. And that's His name is Yeshua, and it has a meaning in the Hebrew. His father is Yahuwah, and in Exodus chapter 3, when he says, "I am who I am, this is my memorial name forever," then that's what he's talking about. It's a variation of the verb to be. I don't want to get too heavy on this, but he exists. That's what his name means. He is. Well, his son is Yeshua HaMashiach. Most people learned about Yeshua as Jesus Christ through mainstream churches. But my help comes from Yahuwah. I worship Yahuwah. And my blessing, my claim to the promise that He's given me is also has to do with a contract. He offered, I consented, and now I walk accordingly. And that's what we have all got to do. It's not a time to panic. It's a time to get yourself right with Yahuwah. Get yourself right. If you don't know Yahusha, You know, it's time to learn who he is. It's time to get your house in order, as it were. It's time to clean all of the sin out of your life. We're coming up over on the Passover season right now. Excuse me. And today, what's today, the 18th? Some of the people who believe the way I do are going by something called the Zadok calendar. And with the Zadok calendar, today is the first day of the new year. And the 14th day of this month, the month of Abib, is the Passover. Well, right after the Passover, the next day is the Feast of Unleavened Bread that goes for 7 days. And understanding the feasts are, you know, it's a little bit more advanced, but what the Feast of Unleavened Bread is, you're supposed to, on the way up to the feast, you're supposed to clean all the leaven out of your house. Well, you remember when Jesus said that a little leaven leavens the whole lump? Remember that? Yahushua said that in the Gospels. And what he was talking about is he was talking about how sin grows in our lives and it consumes our lives. Just like if you put a little bit of yeast in a ball of dough, it's going to take over that dough. And eventually it's all going to be leavened. So this Feast of Unleavened Bread that's coming up, it's once a year for the Passover. We recognize that Yahushua was our Passover lamb. And then we have to, because he is our Passover lamb, he's our sacrifice, we have the responsibility of fulfilling our part of the covenant or the contract. Contract and covenant are the same thing. They're completely synonymous in law. And our part is we have to search out our lives and we have to get rid of all of the sins. You know, as we come to him, we don't even realize what a bunch of things are in our lives that are sin. And then we fight to justify and hang on to different sins. But it's a process, and the Feast of Unleavened Bread, as you clean out, you know, the breadcrumbs you find here and there and that, this is teaching you how you've got to search for sin in your life, how you've got to search for how you're not living your life consistent with his laws. And for me, I've learned that I have to live by all of his laws. The 10 Commandments, that's the basics. And it's very, very basic there that there's one verse in the Bible that pretty much says it all, puts it just in a nutshell. I use it all the time. It's Ecclesiastes 12:13. I should have made a slide on it, where King Solomon, who's arguably the wisest man besides Yeshua that's ever lived, said, "Let us hear the conclusion of the whole matter. Fear Yahuwah and keep his commandments, for this is the whole duty of man." And that's your starting point. Your starting point is to fear him and to keep the 10 Commandments, and then figure out what all of his commands are. Because, you know, there's other things we have to do, but that's on a one-on-one basis, and he gives it to you as you can take it, as you can absorb it, as you can apply it to your life. So it's as simple as calling on the name of Yahuwah and calling on the name of his son for your salvation, doing the things that you're required. But right now, you've got to know who you are. Now, also with that, because you are of the kingdom of Yahuwah, domiciled on this earth, this is a temporary domicile until the kingdom of Yahuwah is set up. But you do not have the right to contract with Satan, which is what you're doing if you contract with this beast system. If you sign up to take this check, whatever this check might be that they're going to get, you've entered into a contract, and you've made your contract of no effect. So see, you've stepped out from underneath his wings. You know, you don't have the protection that you can have otherwise. If you're walking in his laws and doing the best you can do, he will provide. It will seem hopeless a lot of times, and that doesn't mean that things aren't going to be hard. What we're coming up on is going to be very, very hard. I think you're going to see that as we get through this video, but you got to know who you are. And I do not consent. I do not consent to being a debt slave. That's the whole thing. I've got 2 misdemeanor cases going right now. I haven't even entered a plea on them. One of them was from February 9th of last year. And this is, what, March 18th of 2020? And I haven't even entered a plea on them yet. Yet they've railroaded me, and on April 1st, I'm supposed to pick a jury to go to trial. I've done everything correct in court. I've put in all my objections, but I haven't filed any papers yet because I don't want to participate in their system. I'm going to be forced to now. But see, the battle's not mine. The battle is Yahuwah's. And that's my claim, and that's my remedy. That's my remedy. His jurisdiction is higher than their jurisdiction. Yahuwah's jurisdiction is higher than Trump's jurisdiction is higher than the New World Order's jurisdiction. It's higher than Rothschild's jurisdiction. Nobody trumps Yahuwah. And it says that these rich people that are doing all this stuff to us, they're going to be asking for the rocks to fall on them and hide them from the wrath of Yahuwah when it all comes down. And I'm afraid that, it's starting now. So it's time to get serious. Let me see if I can get out of this, and we're gonna go look at some things. Got to drop this off. Let's pull this up. Okay, I want to start down here. This is Trump giving a little bit of a broadcast. I might listen to a minute. I haven't listened to this one, but let's just listen to a minute of it. This is from today on Fox News. Yes, Fox 10. Let's just give a second for the listen.
I would like to begin by announcing some important developments in our war against the Chinese virus. We'll be invoking the Defense Production Act just in case we need it. In other words, I think you all know what it is, and it can do a lot of good things if we need it, and we will have it all completed, signing it in just a little while, right after I'm finished with this conference. I'll be signing it. It's prepared to go. So we will be invoking the Defense Production Act. Last week I signed an emergency.
Okay, and that's all we really need to know on this, is that he has invoked this Defense Production Act. So here we have it straight from the horse's mouth. And folks, I think we're in trouble here. There's been a whole line of executive orders that have been done forever. They've been done forever, and you can look up the history easy enough. I went and I Googled, what did I Google? Let's see if the search term comes up. It doesn't. But this came up, martial law by executive order. I'm just going to jump back here a little bit and show you how easy it is to find this information if you'll just look. And can you afford not to look? That's the question. But right here, list of executive orders, it should be orders, to support martial law. And then here's a whole bunch of stuff. I was on something down here. I think it was the Huffington Post is the one I was on. But you can see this one here. Let's just go take a look at it real quick. Order 10998 on this slow operating computer. Here it is, assigning emergency preparedness functions to the Secretary of Agriculture. And you've got all these different executive orders. You can go look this stuff up. It's not hard to find. And I'm going to leave that to you. I'm going to actually go back here and leave this here because I've got to look into this a little bit closer. But, excuse me, I've made no bones about it. I'm not trying to make this channel look pretty or get 100,000 views and monetize it and all of that. No, this is freely I've been given, so freely I give, and that's the way I'm going to stay with this. The little bit of income that we've had has shut off because of this lockdown. What's going on. Everybody else is so concerned about it, and so it's hurting us too. It's going to hurt all of us. We're all going to be hurt. Nobody's going to go through this unscathed. I've heard that one place I heard, not here. That's Dana Ashley. There we go. In this video here from Richie from Boston. This is his newest. He might have another one out by now. This was a live stream that was just put up a little while ago. Everybody should go look at this. Now, I don't try to compete. Richie's a lot better at this than I am. On a lot of the legal stuff and the language stuff, I looked to Brandon at the Big Sib, YouTube channel. He's better at that than me. I'm not trying to compete with Richie. I'm not trying to compete with Brandon. Here I've got another video. This Mr. MBB333 has got a video about this inbound comet. Everybody needs to see this also. There's a couple more things out there that you all need to get busy and do your due diligence and figure out what's going on. Because this is not the time to stick your heads in the sand. Okay, Dana Ashley, she has some great information. I don't know what this one is. I just happened to pull this up. There was one more that I wanted to pull up. I think that's my channel. This one here, let's talk about this asteroid. we've all been hearing about Nibiru, and then we've got the debate between the flat earthers and the round earthers. Well, there's arguments each way, and I'm not even, I've, I have to assign, everybody knows by now that I've been studying law for quite a while. And I have to kind of look to the rules of evidence and the logic behind it, because there is quite a bit of logic behind what they do. And in the rules of evidence, you weigh the information for its probative value. Probative meaning, is it probably this way or is it probably that way? And I lean more towards the flat earth, the biblical cosmology, if for no other reason than the Genesis account, where it talks about the firmament. And what is it? Psalm 19. The heavens declare the glory of God, the firmament shows his handiwork. That right there is enough for me, that I lean towards the biblical cosmology. However, does that not mean that all this Nibiru stuff and all the asteroids and all of that it can't happen because we're protected by a dome? No, it doesn't. It absolutely does not. Something is going on in that dome, and we know that for the flood, that the windows of heaven were opened and water came down from above. We know from Genesis that the firmament was supposed to separate the waters below from the waters above. There's no reason that Yahuwah can't open a window up there and throw a rock at us, or throw hundreds of rocks. Those rocks may be the fallen ones that are going to fall in these end days. I mean, to some of you who aren't in the know, haven't been looking at this, I might sound like a total and complete nut. But believe me, I put thousands of hours into studying this out. I started studying this stuff in 1981. I spent 13 years completely and totally deceived in a mainstream, quote unquote, Christian church. And then I pretty much tore my life apart. Ended up getting in trouble, ended up going to prison several times, and I did a lot of studying while I was in there. I was locked up once for 4.5 years, and all during that time I studied and I studied and I studied. When I came out, I'd learned that there is something to keeping the Sabbath and keeping the feast days, but I still hadn't learned the correct way. But that was, I got out that time I got out in it was April 2nd of 2007. So from 2002 to 2007, I was studying full time. That's all I did while I was in there, is study. If I wasn't studying this, I was studying horticulture. But I put my due diligence in, and he keeps adding things to me as I'm capable of comprehending them and applying them to my life. And now I went through the sacred names groups, and now I think I've come to an understanding of just exactly what we're supposed to do. But that's for me and my understanding, and you got to do your due diligence. I no longer seek to be saved by the name Jesus. I seek to be named, because it says there's only one name by which you must be saved. And for me, that's Yahusha. And Yahusha is the best I've been able to come up with for a translation. It has a meaning. In the Aramaic, Big Sib talks about it. The meaning is Yahuwah saves, the salvation of Yahuwah. And in the Hebrew system, those words, all those names, all meant something. And it gets pretty involved and pretty fascinating when you take a look at some of that on the names. But anyway, back to this. They're saying here that this comet is going to be here towards the end of May. And it's enough to where it's a bright light in the sky. Well, I haven't checked this out, but Richie and everybody else was talking about this light that's not moving in the sky, and I did see it. Went outside on the front porch, and I did locate it, I think, a couple weeks ago, and looked at it. But now I think that was probably has something to do with this quote unquote comet. But excuse me. But the thing is, whatever this is, it's approaching us, and it's going to be happening here by the 1st of May, and we're going to know more and more. I kind of am thinking that maybe all these chemtrails and blotting out the sun was trying to keep us where we are ignorant of this until they could put all these plans in place. So it looks to me like it's a great big conspiracy. And by the way, conspiracy theory, do you know where that came from? The CIA coined that term because people were not accepting the account of the lone gunman killing JFK. So they came up with the idea of a conspiracy theory. And then now everybody that mentions anything that's, that could be a conspiracy, well, you're just a conspiracy theorist. You're, tinfoil hat wearing crazy. Well, you know what? Conspiracy is a real thing. When two or more people plot to do something, that's a conspiracy. And as a matter of fact, in the United States Code, Title 18, Section 241 or 242, I think it's 242, it's conspiracy to violate your rights, okay? 241, I believe it goes that's a violation of your rights, and 242 is a conspiracy to violate your rights. So if you go into court and the prosecutor and the judge and this one and that one all just stomp all over your rights, you can actually file criminal charges under that. But it never works out because, you got to go to their friends to get it enforced. And then if you do get a judgment, how are you ever going to collect on that? So, but conspiracy is a real thing. Conspiracies, when two or more people set out to deceive a third person or a group of people. That's a conspiracy. So, yeah, there's a lot of conspiracies in this world. 9/11. Well, that was the biggest conspiracy in the world there. What happened in 9/11? It's pretty much been all over the place, and everybody knows the biggest gold heist in history took place. It was stored in the basement of 9/11. That, I can't remember the guy's name, that bought the buildings just a couple months before and had them insured. From what I heard, I think he got like $7 billion off of that insurance policy. And they got rid of the buildings that were standing in the way of their New World Trade Center, whatever it is. So a lot of things happened there. But the big thing that happened is we had this huge document. I don't remember, was it 1,200 pages or something like that? Within a week, it was passed into law, the Patriot Act. And the Patriot Act took away our constitutional rights. Well, first of all, they're not constitutional rights. The Constitution is supposed to protect them, and the Patriot Act is not lawful. Now, it's legal, but it's not lawful, and there is a difference. You would do well to learn the difference between legal and lawful. Lawful has to do with the natural law, Yahuwah's law. If it's in compliance with Yahuwah's law, it is lawful. If it's compliant with man's law, then it's legal. And there's a world of difference, because in man's system, it's not at all about justice. It's about the rich getting richer and the poor getting stomped on. And that's what's happening here. But you'd be good to go to this channel and look at this video also. And I'm not going to make this video much longer. I've said about enough, but check out the Big Sib, his last couple of videos. I think it was a video and then a live stream, the last two. You'd be doing real good to look at those. And look at his attitude. I can't remember which one it was, or if it was both of them, that he talked about his lack of consent over all of this. And he sent a letter to the governor of Louisiana. Is that going to do any good whatsoever? Not a bit. Not going to change a thing. But you know what it did? It let him know who he is. It let him know who he is, and he let the governor know that he knows who he is. And consequently, I think that Yahuwah is going to know that he knows who he is, and has to respect that. So that's what I've been trying to do. I've been trying to get something together that I can file a declaration of my status and my will, and to establish that I'm a man. I'm not a person. A person is a corporation. Look in Black's Law. Type in the legal definition of person on the computer. It'll tell you. It'll tell you. You're not a person. You don't have kids. Kids are goats. You don't have children. You have sons and daughters. See, all these words have meaning in law, and they have perverted the language so bad. Justinian Deception just did a video on the word includes, and that's a very telling video, because the word includes is a limiting word. So if you say all the so and so blah blah blah, including blah blah blah. I think he used the example of 1,000 doctors, including Dr. Spock, agree that whatever. I don't remember what it was he agreed on. But what that said, by saying 1,000 doctors, including Dr. Spock, said, what that translates to in legalese is Dr. Spock says, and these other 1,000 doctors had nothing to do with it. See, but Justinian Deception, is it Rowan? Can't remember which one it is. There's two guys that are on that channel. They're a couple of Aussies. They're great guys. They put on some really good stuff. Check them out. There's a lot of bad information, a lot of misinformation out there. YouTube is a good place to start your research, but you got to get out there. You got to use Google and use it while you can, because I don't see our internet staying up much longer. The last video that I posted, or before the last video I posted, as I was posting it, I saw a banner from YouTube saying that they're going to just start dropping videos because they can't have enough workers there to supervise their AI, when the videos are being loaded. And so they're just going to start throwing them out because they don't have people to supervise these computers. I don't know how in the world that works anyway. AI's doing it. They don't have no way they've got enough manpower in California to look at all the videos that come across there. So it's just another scam. They're laying the groundwork to shut us up. They're laying the groundwork to take this platform away from us. They're going to leave it up for now because this lockdown, I believe there's a good chance that it's going to be the 5G rollout. And 5G is nothing nice. Let me tell you, 5G is going to cause more heartache, more death. It's just awful. It's awful. But things are going to accelerate from here on out. Things are going to be speeding up. And I'm not trying to be harsh at all. I love every one of you that happens to listen to this, and I want nothing but the best for you. But the fact of the matter is, this is not the time to stick your head in the sand. This is not the time to say that, oh, everything's okay, it's all going to be gone in a couple of weeks, and life will be back to normal. I don't think it will. I don't think it can go back to normal after this. If we look to history, every time they've taken something from us, we've not gotten it back. The Patriot Act's expired a couple of times, and they always have something else going on so you don't notice that it gets signed back into law. They don't need the Patriot Act anymore. The president every year has to sign and reissue the Emergency War Powers Act. So you notice we've always had a war on drugs, a war on terrorism, a war on this, a war on that. That allows them to keep this Emergency War Powers Act going. They're not giving back our rights. Whatever they take from us is gone. Kiss it, bye-bye, it is gone. Plain and simple. These are satanic, evil SOBs. And they are going to do what they can do to enslave every one of us, starve us out, kill us off. Look up the Georgia Guidestones. It's real. It's a granite monument in, Dayton, Georgia? That was put in place, I think it was like 79, 80. But, Google the Georgia Guidestones. It's 10 Commandments for the New World Order, basically. And I believe it's the first one that says to maintain the population below 500,000. Okay. This great big granite monument, somebody paid for that, paid cash too, by the way, and put it out there to just tell everybody what was going on. How do you maintain a population of 7 billion, 8 billion, wherever we're at now? I'm not sure. I think we're somewhere between 7 and 8 billion. How do you maintain that at 500 million? Don't you have to wipe out about 9/10 or better of the population to get there? So, it's time to, put on your big boy and big girl pants and panties and face the reality, the harsh truth about what's going on in this world. If you don't, nothing good's going to come of it. If you don't, you're going to see this check come to you from the government because we're all on lockdown and you can't go to work and your mortgage is due. And, oh, the government's just giving me $1,000. Or, oh, the government's just giving me $5,000. I can pay my mortgage. Oh, I'm saved. No, you just gave the government, if you put that in the bank and start spending it, you just gave the government consent to come and forcibly vaccinate you, to forcibly give you the mark of the beast. Now, that's my opinion. Nothing I've said here has been legal advice. It is strictly what I have interpreted this and what it is for me. This is for me. This is where I'm at with all this information. And I've got to say that because in their system it's illegal to give
legal advice. Guess what? It's not unlawful. And guess what? For a man, there's a 1925 U.S. Supreme Court case that says that it's the right of every man to practice law. But yet, when you go into their courtrooms, you're going into a private venue of International Court of Commerce. And the only ones that can practice in there are bar attorneys. You can't practice law in there. So there you go. You can't even really, in your paperwork, you can't even really cite the citations of the statutes and that, because that's all copyrighted. It's all private law, and it's all implemented by contract. And they've done this to us almost since day one. They've done this to us. When Benjamin Franklin came out from signing the Constitution, or maybe it was the Declaration, that was the Constitution, a lady asked him, what kind of government have you given us? And he said to her something to the effect of a republic, if you can keep it. Now, the Articles of Confederation are still good law, okay? Nothing has repealed those. And the very last sentence, and pretty much the theme of the Articles of Confederation, is we're guaranteed a republican form of government. How often have you heard a politician talk about a republic? You just don't hear that. It's always a democracy. And democracy is, if 51% of the people say they're going to do this and they're going to violate your rights, well, guess what? Your rights get violated. It's mob rule. It's mob rule. And there's not even a checks and balances, because they tell you who the 51% is. How do you prove it? How do you check their numbers? Do you go out and take a poll of everybody in the country? Find out they truly do have 51%? No, they can tell you anything they want to. These people are not stupid, because these people are working for a being that has been around for a long time. And you know who that being is. It's Satan, the devil. And he's got a bunch of minions down here working for him too. The fallen ones, the offspring of the fallen ones, the Nephilim. When they lived 500 years and died, then they didn't have a body. They've been running around, and they're the demonic spirits that wreak so much havoc in the world today. So when you try to put your smarts up against the devil and his minions, you're going to lose. But guess what? These people worship him. They worship Lucifer. They think that they present Yahuwah as a tyrant that had Adam and Eve trapped in the garden, and Lucifer saved them. They are they're insane. They're insane with all of this. And they're evil beyond description. So you better wake up. You better take off the blinders. You better face the fact that we're going to be going through some stuff. And do what you can do to take care of yourself, to prepare yourself. And don't think that you're just going to go hide in a hole and be okay. No, you got to do what you got to do to take care of those around you also. It's not all about you. It's not all about me. It's about us. We have to pull together. We have to help each other where we can. So that's pretty much my rant, and I probably said more than I should have. So hopefully this thing will post. But thank you all for listening, and I usually I'm not even going to go there on this one. But anyway, I want to thank you all, and I want to just say, may Yahuwah open your eyes. May he bless you with the knowledge that you need in this time to see the truth in the sea of lies. And, please consider what I've said. Go check out some of these things that I've put a bunch of stuff out there for you. You can pause this video and get the information, listen to it again, whatever you got to do. I'm just a little guy. I think I got, under 50 subscribers. I haven't even looked lately. Probably closer to 25 than to 50. I don't know. And I've not been doing this for a long time. But like I say, I'm not trying to compete with anybody. I'm trying to send you to the big boys, the ones who have been around a while, who I trust. And don't just go with one source. Find all kinds of sources. Then get off of YouTube and use Google. And there's still a little bit of truth you can find through Google. It's getting harder and harder all the time. I tried to look up an IRS definition that's a really important definition the other day. and I had to go into the IRS website and in the back door that you would not be able to without the knowledge that I have of this. But they've got it hidden now, and it used to be you could go right to Cornell University's law site, and it was right there, all of it. But it's not anymore. They're hiding things. They're hiding things more and more every day. We're going to lose this platform soon. We probably, after this lockdown, they're going to use the internet to justify rolling out the 5G. And after the 5G's here, we're either going to lose the internet or it's going to be cut way, way back. It'll be like China, where you can't say anything, or you're going to mess up your social credit score. So I only want the best for every one of you. And the only reason I'm putting this out here like this, and so um, I don't even, at a loss for words right now. So emotional about this and so emphatic about this is because I can see the writing on the wall. I can see what we're coming into, and there's a lot of other people that are awake that'll tell you the same thing. But do your due diligence. May Yahuwah bless you and yours. And with that, I'm going to say good night, and I wish you all a better tomorrow. But I don't see it happening.